In the small, dusty town of Silver Creek, everyone knew everyone else, and no one had ever shown mercy to those they deemed weak. Among these townsfolk was a young woman named Clara. She was quiet, with eyes that seemed to see too much of the world, and a heart too tender for the harshness around her. From the moment she moved to Silver Creek, people had labeled her useless. She tried to work, tried to help with chores, tried to contribute, but every effort seemed to backfire. When she served drinks at the saloon, a glass slipped from her hands. When she helped in the town's small bakery, a tray of fresh bread fell and scattered across the dusty floor. Children whispered as they passed her on the streets, "There goes useless Clara." The laughter of men in the saloon was crueler than any whip, and the gossip spread faster than wildfire. Clara kept her head low and worked harder, but the townsfolk's disdain seemed to multiply with each passing day. Even her neighbors, people who had lived there for generations, treated her with suspicion. They assumed she would fail at anything she tried, so why bother giving her a chance? What they didn't know was that Clara had endured more than they could imagine. She had lost her parents in a wagon accident when she was a child, and she had survived on her own for years before arriving in Silver Creek. Every small misstep in town was a reflection not of her incompetence but of the scars left behind by life's cruelties. Yet, their perception was stronger than truth. One day, as she walked past the saloon, a group of men mocked her again. Useless, one of them jeered. Another threw a scrap of paper at her feet with the words, "Better leave town before you embarrass yourself further." Clara picked up the paper, felt the sting of humiliation, but kept walking. She was used to it. What she didn't expect was that someone was watching from the shadows. Across the street, leaning casually against the post of a wooden storefront, was a tall cowboy named Jesse. He was new to Silver Creek, a man of quiet strength, with eyes that had seen both the desert's unforgiving heat and the loneliness of endless trails. The townsfolk didn't know his full story. He was a ranch owner, and not just any ranch owner, but the wealthiest in the county. His presence in town had been low-key. He came to buy supplies or sell his horses, and no one paid him much attention. But that day, Jesse saw something in Clara that the rest of the town could not: resilience. The way she held herself, even under ridicule, the way she didn't lash out or cry, but kept moving forward, told him everything he needed to know. He decided, then and there, that he would give her a chance. That chance would not be obvious, for he did not want the town to interfere or mock her further. He simply needed to find a way to test her, to see if the fire inside her could shine when given a real opportunity. And so, the quiet planning began. Jesse watched her for days, noting her routines, the way she handled chores, the little gestures of kindness she offered to animals or children, even when others mocked her. He admired her subtle courage, the kind that didn't demand recognition, the kind that survived even when ignored. Clara had no idea she was being observed. All she knew was that life in Silver Creek was relentless, and her dream of belonging seemed impossible. But fate had chosen this day to intervene, though she wouldn't know it yet. As night fell, Clara returned to the small room she rented above the general store. She sat by the window, looking at the stars and wondering if any of them had ever shone on someone as useless as her. Maybe tomorrow, she whispered to herself, something will change. She didn't know how true that thought was. Somewhere beyond the horizon, Jess's horse trotted back to the ranch, carrying a plan that would alter her life forever. And this, the first chapter of their intertwined fates, was only just beginning. If you're captivated by Clara's story and want to see how a simple chance can transform a life, hit that subscribe button now, because what happens next will surprise you. The next morning, Jesse returned to Silver Creek, carrying with him an offer disguised as a small errand. He approached Clara as she swept the front steps of the general store. "Excuse me," he said in a voice both firm and gentle, "I have a small task, and I need someone careful and reliable to help me. Would you be interested?" Clara looked up, startled. She had been called useless so many times that no one ever trusted her with responsibility. She hesitated, then shook her head. I don't think I can." Jesse cut her off with a smile that had warmth but also an unspoken authority. "I've seen you. You are more capable than you think. This is just a small test, but I believe you can handle it." Her heart skipped a beat. No one had ever said anything like that to her. For the first time, she felt seen. Jesse handed her a list of supplies in a small envelope with instructions. The task seemed simple. Purchase the items from town, deliver them to a location outside the outskirts, and report back. But the test was more than just a delivery. Jessie wanted to see if Clara could navigate challenges independently, if she could problem solve, if she could remain calm when life threw obstacles her way. As Clara set off, she felt a mix of excitement and fear. The townsfolk watched her, curious, but she no longer cared what they thought. Each step of the journey presented small challenges: an overturned wagon blocking the path, a frightened horse needing calm handling, a child lost on the trail who needed reassurance. Clara solved each problem with a courage she hadn't realized she possessed. And at the end of the day, she returned to Jessie, the items intact, the tasks complete. He greeted her with a quiet nod of approval, a gesture more powerful than any words. "You did well," he said. Clara felt a surge of pride. For once, someone had seen her abilities, her worth. But Jessie didn't stop there. Over the next weeks, he continued to give her small responsibilities, each one gradually more challenging than the last. Clara blossomed. She discovered strengths she had never known, skills she didn't realize she possessed. Word of her subtle transformation began to spread quietly, but Jessie had kept his involvement secret. He wanted her confidence to grow without the taint of town judgment. Slowly, Clara's reputation started to shift. People noticed her efficiency, her kindness, her determination. They whispered among themselves, uncertain at first. Could it be, she's not useless? A farmer who had once mocked her admitted she had saved a shipment of grain from spoiling. A shopkeeper realized she managed his ledger flawlessly. And all the while, Clara remained humble, unaware of the full extent of Jess's orchestration. One afternoon, Jessie finally invited her to the ranch under the guise of a larger task. She rode out, unsure of what awaited her. As she arrived, the vast expanse of land stretched before her: rolling fields, neatly arranged barns, horses grazing peacefully. Clara's eyes widened. She had never imagined such a place, nor that she would ever have access to it. Jessie smiled, observing her awe. "This is the place where you've earned your chance," he said simply. Clara was confused. "My chance?" Jessie nodded. "Yes, you've proven yourself capable, patient, and resourceful. I want you to manage a part of this ranch." The words seemed to echo in her mind. Manage a ranch? Could she really? The doubt tried to creep in, but Jess's confidence in her was unwavering. "I've given you opportunities before, but now, you get to lead," he said. And in that moment, Clara understood. Her life was changing forever. No longer would the word, useless, define her. She had someone who believed in her when no one else did. And as she looked into Jess's eyes, she felt a sense of purpose she had never known. The townsfolk would eventually see the transformation, but for now, it was a secret that would empower her to shine. Clara's heart swelled with gratitude and determination. And if you're inspired by Clara's journey and want to witness her rise to confidence and success, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of this incredible story. Days turned into weeks, and Clara's confidence grew alongside her responsibilities. Managing the ranch was no easy task. She coordinated workers, tended to the animals, oversaw crop planting, and solved problems that once would have seemed insurmountable. Jessie remained a quiet mentor, guiding her only when necessary, letting her discover solutions on her own. Slowly, the people of Silver Creek began to notice. Clara's hands, once trembling under ridicule, were now steady and sure. Her decisions, once doubted, were now respected. Farmers sought her advice. Shopkeepers requested her management skills. Even those who had laughed at her began to admire her tenacity. The transformation was undeniable. Yet, Clara remained humble. She knew the road ahead would still have obstacles, but she had discovered the power of belief, the strength that came from being given a chance by someone who truly saw her worth. One day, Jessie organized a town gathering. It was subtle, framed as a small celebration for the harvest. Clara, unaware of the true intention, attended. The townsfolk gathered, whispering, skeptical and curious. And then Jessie, with his quiet authority, began to speak. "Clara has done something remarkable," he said. "She has shown skill, determination, and heart beyond what anyone expected. She has managed my ranch, solved problems, and proven herself capable in every way." Murmurs spread. Some were shocked, others ashamed. The very people who had called her useless now stood in stunned silence. Clara felt her cheeks flush, but not with embarrassment. This was pride, pure and shining. She had fought for herself without asking for recognition, and now, it had arrived. Jessie smiled at her. The chance I gave her was hers to take, and she took it brilliantly. Clara looked at Jessie, gratitude shining in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, knowing words could not express the depth of her appreciation. From that day forward, Clara was no longer the useless girl of Silver Creek. She became a symbol of resilience and potential. She had earned the respect of the town, but more importantly, she had earned confidence in herself. In Jessie, he remained her quiet supporter, proud of the woman she had become. Together, they demonstrated a simple truth: a single chance, given to someone with determination, could transform a life. And for the viewers watching Clara's journey, there is a lesson: never underestimate the power of belief, and never stop giving your best, even when others doubt you. And if you've been inspired by Clara's transformation, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next story of hope, courage, and life-changing chances. Because just like Clara, the next story could change your life too.